Welcome, friends. This is Archangel. It's curious the clarity that I have since removing my societal blinders. Blinders I have only recently discarded. Yet taking the red pill is not enough. Acceptance of the reality the red pill represents, real struggle rests. I have been observing red pill manifestations for years. Yet, like many, I thought I could find a way to fix the problems within the matrix, when the problem is the matrix. Finally accepting the fact that you cannot fix misandry within a system of disposability. The system is the problem. You cannot fix misandry within a paradigm of gynocentrism. You must extricate yourself from the system that enslaves you. And when enough males do this, the system will crash, and we will finally discard that system that discards of males. So many males register the misandry that is waged against them, yet they pretend that a few concessions or hollow pats on the head from females will right all the injustice. They think they can command respect and value in a society that disrespects and devalues them. Males lie to themselves, believing that they can find happiness and freedom while still subjugated to a slave master imprisoned on the plantation. I know I have struggled to believe that the broken egg could be taped back together and salvaged, and when Humpty was put back together, equity and romance would reign supreme. But the broken egg is the problem. The failed paradigms of traditionalism and feminism are broken, and rightfully so, for both thrive on male devaluation and disposability. Until you fully realize that romance is a cleverly packaged illusion, and that females do not seek your company out of love or romance or soulmates or star-crossed lovers. Until you realize this, you cannot fully claim red pill status. That's where I was stuck, thinking I could fight misandry, then pander and receive validation from a wife or girlfriend who was different from all the others because she wants nothing more than my happiness and well-being. Males enable the fairy tale by pretending that females are different from their nature. So males hold fast to the disbelief, and they will search for that one specifically ordained goddess incarnate who chooses selfless romance over survival when her back's against the wall. Oh, the foolishness! I am now liberated, and my mission is to liberate all males. It's amazing the clarity I have now. I see everything so differently. I see the blatant devaluation and disposability in every single interaction I witness, whether on TV or on the street corner. I see the deluge of misandry that's been flooding the basement of the male sex. I have such lucidity about sex interactions. It's not a witch hunt on my part, nor made-up paranoia. Irrational McCarthyism does not man the helm of this ship. I simply observe, as I have all my life, the deliberate devaluation of males with amazing transparency. Misandry is everywhere, and it boggles me that others fail to observe it with the transparent clarity that I do. I could be summarily dismissed as a crackpot if I was the only one who observed such misandristic manifestations, yet the fact that countless other males are also observing the same things. This means we take localized relativity out of the individual observation and add consensus to an external phenomena. There is a quantifiable injustice occurring in objective reality, not conspiracy theories in a single schizophrenic mind. I see things in a harsh, honest light, not through the rose-colored glasses of gynocentrism that the rest of our brothers view life through. It simply boggles the mind, the sheer amount of hatred that exists for males. It is everywhere. Everywhere. We tread water in a sea of male devaluation. I see the shameless brainwashing of males. I see the obvious elevating of females and demeaning of males. I see how disposability is dressed up and sold to males by the vaginisty as being courageous, being a tough provider, being a heroic protector of the weak. It is really amazing to see reality as it truly is, like Neo seeing the coding that is the walls of the Matrix for the first time. I see males so desperate to serve females, blissfully unaware that they are not loved, that they are mere shovels to do work for females. The males that have had a partial awakening to the true nature of females and romance will flat out deny it and shame, even attack anyone trying to peddle red pills. These males are so scared and threatened that they need to hold fast to the illusion of romance and pretend females would actually reciprocate in kind the love and affection and romance that males offer them. Males are utilities to females and society, point blank. It's really sad to watch males pander to females. So sad watching the brooms pretend that the janitors actually care about them. Even more heartbreaking to see brooms telling other brooms that they just have to find the right janitor who will love them independent of their ability to move dust along floors. I feel deep empathy and pity for subjugated males. I feel this empathy for masses of the downtrodden, still laboring to tape together the broken egg and somehow effect resolution within the employ of a slave master. Yet, even as I feel this vivid empathy, I acknowledge a seething anger against these males who are too weak to sever their ties to their drug dealers. The same slaves I wish to liberate are the very same who constitute the ranks that I make war against. The victims embody my nemesis. I am not concerned with females. They are an inconsequential irritation, like flies around the porch light. I fight males who defend and enable female entitlement behavior and male devaluation and disposability. I fight the brainwashed masses who enforce male disposability, and there are a cajillion more brainwashed white knights than there are liberated warriors. It's really sad, in a cringing, embarrassing kind of way, the dog and pony show that males put on for the world around them. I see through these false fronts. I look in bodybuilding magazines, and I see page after page after page of males growling under heavy weight, or ads with all kinds of credos about grit and power and fighting all odds, about pain and glory, monstrous males, mean mugging the camera like they are hulking manifestations of toughness and strength. Yet I know, I can just sense, that they are emasculated whipped addicts, simply hypertrophied bouncers enforcing gynocentrism and male expendability. All the talk about grit and steel, fortitude and heroics and independent determinism rings pathetically hollow when it comes from whipped males. I see hot rod magazines with guys next to crazy blown engines, yet all I see is a false front. The only thing truly blown is their self-worth, which females use to wipe their boots on. I observe pictures of hunters, grisly and rough, posing next to their big heroic trophy kill. I see pilots, ship captains, truck drivers, chopper builders, soldiers, politicians, corporate bigwigs, all the avenues that brag traditional masculinity of confidence and control. Yet I now see they have no control. They are caricatures who kowtow to females and enforce the gynocentric agenda of female elevation and worship and male devaluation and expendability. All the tough appearing construction giants, all the hardened gangstas, all the tatted up bikers, all the tough guy enclaves, they can only sell their tough image to other males. Females know exactly how weak and easy they all are to manipulate with a little perfume and lipstick or feigning a little fragility or victimhood. I can see an entire planet of males whose existence revolves around females. They have no life nor identity beyond what females allow them. I see the most cocky and flamboyant of males as merely gorillas beating their chests within their zoo cages, impotent, enslaved at the behest of female servitude. They are posers, pumping themselves and others up with false assumptions of masculinity, filling each other's heads up with lullabies of being tough by moving inert pieces of metal or shooting guns or growing beards and grilling. I see all these things now. The truly tough are the individuals that embody all these advertisements of grit and courage used to inspire and sell supplements to the whipped males showboating their false autonomy. The males who are truly impressive are those who extract themselves from female servitude, from dependence upon females for happiness or approval of any kind. The true Hercules is the male who turns his back on everything he was taught and had hoped for and forges his own path. The male who is 150 pounds wet, who rejects females, is much tougher than the 300-pound Goliath that can squat 1,000 pounds yet is a simpering doormat to females, even while he bullies other males around. It is such a colossal feat to rise above and transcend your strongest, most basal desire for female affection and approval, to find salvation and happiness within yourself rather than externally from females. That is true grit, true strength. The simple act of swallowing the red pill demonstrates more courage than all the henpecked muscle gorillas bullying weights or all the inspirational statements combined. It takes more grit, more steel of character for a man to remove his sexual and romantic drive than it does for him to do anything else. Now, I don't mean to discount any man's physical or intellectual achievements. Whipped or not, indeed, many whipped males could best me in any number of areas. Many whipped males could easily kick my butt and would probably do so if asked to by a female. I belittle no man's accomplishments. We are amazing and we can do it all, as males. I simply see males hiding weakness and disposability behind chest puffing, knuckle knocks, and false monikers of masculinity. I easily recognize males compensating for their addiction to females. I don't see huge monoliths of male fortitude. I see dudes bowing before their counterparts. I don't see studs driving jacked up diesel pickups. I see lapdogs who go around repeating, "Happy wife, happy life." No longer do I see masters of business and industry. Now I see souls running after mommy's approval. They simply do it with more attractive, higher maintenance females, like Bruce Wayne seeking of approval or validation through consumption or volume of attractive females. Females who play along and placate rich dudes simply to get some of the money and lifestyle. When I look deeper at the playboys or wealthy and powerful elite who appear chauvinistic and misogynistic by their consumption of attractive females, I see souls hurt and broken using their status and money to search out validation through females. And really, even if the rich and powerful are truly chauvinistic misogynists, the females that associate with them are just as self-serving and chauvinistic. These wallet chasers are only in it for their own enrichment, yet we cast the negative light on the males who objectify and run through large numbers of models. Females target males for their provision. Do you think any female gets with Donald Trump because they think he's good looking or he has a nice inner character? Yeah. I see all these things. I see males so needy and desperate for female attention that they will throw one another under the bus at the drop of a hat just to get noticed and reduced competition. Now, I know that's today's world of dog-eat-dog, where we throw our fellow human under the bus to get ahead or secure provision for ourselves or kin in order to effect survival. But males take this to a whole new level over females. I see males forever at each other's throats over females. I see males throw their brothers, their entire sex of brothers, under the train in order to get a very shallow head pat from females. Maybe a female-assisted ejaculation every once in a while. There is no solidarity, no camaraderie, no honor amongst males, no love amongst males. We are all jealous addicts, angry and suspicious of all the other jealous addicts. Males will do anything for females. Lie, cheat, steal, assault, murder, kill, extort. All for females, and all usually on command. Males will even abuse other males for females' misdeeds. And you've seen this a million times. When a male catches his woman cheating, what does he do? Rather than saddle her with blame, he vents his anger onto the other male. She is equal to do whatever she wants because of feminism, which rose because of traditionalism. Yet she is spared consequence because of chivalry, which also rose from traditionalism. So males abuse and stab other males in the back to garner attention from females. Then they abuse and stab males in the back when they are done wrong by those same females. Males abusing males. This is what I see. Males hurting males. This is what I see. Males disposing of fellow males. This is the tragedy that I now see. And the very males I seek to liberate are the worst offenders against the male sex. So it's precarious existing between rage and compassion for manginas. And for those who don't know what a mangina is, he is simply someone who panders and placates females in order to get attention and ultimately approval. I observe more manginas existing within tough guy personas than anywhere else. More manginas amongst bodybuilders than comic bookers. More manginas amongst bomber pilots or tank drivers than Quickie Mart clerks. More simpering manginas who are bikers and politicians than carpet cleaners. The more chest thumping I hear, the more pissing contests I come across. The more arm wrestling I see, the more sporting events and ego I come across, the more manginas I know I will find. Because all these monikers of alpha competition, all these pretend symbols of masculinity are merely peacock feathering for the benefit of females. All these ego-invested activities and representations are ultimately to win female attention and chase the holy grail of male existence, female approval. I see archaic constructs of male disposability that men still cling to. Alpha, beta, these are descriptors of players within the same diseased game, traditionalism. Alphas are simply the caged gorilla, chest thumping, pretending that their take-charge attitude and abuse of more timid males is somehow impressive. Moreover, that it is not pandering to females for attention. While betas are the responsible, dependable chumps picking up the tab for a gynocentric society. Both groups contain manginas looking for a belly rub, and white knights who feel it their duty to protect and provide for females. Both monikers are flawed because both monikers attain definition dependent upon behaviors in relation to females. Thus both monikers, alpha and beta, are dependent upon females for their very existence in definition. We need new waves of males who find existence independent of females. Then we will start to see some value and pride come back to the sex that has been used and abused since time's inception. When you are awakened, you will see through the pomp and ceremony of males prostrating themselves before females, as one would before an omnipotent deity. When you truly awaken, you will be able to sense the sadness from those who have a wife or girlfriend, and even from self-congratulating players or pimps who boast hordes of booty calls from supermodels around the world. I sense a sadness in males that they will vehemently deny, saying that they are as happy as they have ever been. Yet I sense deep down that their contentment is the resignation of an addict who is happy while high, but eventually will be looking for the next fix. Males' happiness depends upon females, and whether it is another sweet, flattering comment from the wife or the next booty call, males are living on borrowed time. They are going from fix to fix, and when the bottom falls out, they will realize how addicted they are to female approval of any kind, whether it be the next text from the girlfriend or another cozy night next to the wife. The males who say they are so happy are doing so while they are high. It is easier to convince yourself of happiness when there is plenty of money in the bank, plenty of food on the shelves, plenty of I love yous, and female-assisted ejaculations. Yet when the money's gone, food no longer lines the shelves, and there are no female-assisted ejaculations, then you'll see males hit rock bottom, pander and placate to embarrassing levels in order to get some semblance of female approval back. That's when you will see the addicts grovel. I see what most males don't, that all their hopes and dreams and benchmarks for happiness hinge upon female involvement in one way or another. Even the males who say they will find another relationship if their current one doesn't work out, They don't realize they are placing their expectation of happiness upon females, and so chase their addiction from one female to the next. I see addicts whose next fix depends on a kind word or sex doled out by their drug dealers, the female sex. Yes, males are simply junkies, resigned animals who pretend that their cages of female subjugation are the best thing that ever happened to them. I see through males and their simpering justifications for being whipped and pampering the entitled sex. And yet again, I feel empathy pity, as a former junkie who still struggles with the fallout of romantic indoctrination. I do not struggle with wanting actual females. I see them now as agents of self, who seek to extract from me in order to ensure their survival. I struggle with false paradigms. I am caught unawares, blindsided from time to time over my deeply held desire for romance to exist, as it has been sold in our malicious fairy tales. This shows me how deeply caring and romantic I myself am, because I wish for its existence in independent reality. I desperately desire for Puff the Magic Dragon to exist in reality. Females, sex, I'm so over that. Give me virtual reality any day where I can live out my fantasies without hurting or trespassing against flesh and blood people. And many people like to hypothesize why males are so pro-virtual reality. Oh yes, males are involved with video games and virtual reality technologies because they are deviant, disgusting criminals. Okay, so you want to know what most males would do in a virtual platform? They would conjure a female that loved them unconditionally. So there you go. It has nothing to do with sex. Males would indulge their desire to experience some semblance of love from a female without usury or manipulation or ulterior motive. Just to be loved and appreciated because you existed. How quaint an idea. Yet it is the fallacy that my love could actually be returned in kind. This is what most nags at the outer fringes of MGTOW periphery, the what-ifs. What if true love existed? What if romance exists? What if females could love me back with the same intensity of feeling that I love them? This is why MGTOW and ultimately liberation are the hardest things a male will ever do. To separate and accept the fiction of their desire with the reality that it doesn't exist in the material world. That is the definition of terror. I see males contented, not happy, contented, existing within the matrix, who do not understand or even want to understand their roles as drug-addicted junkies of utility, devoid of any worth beyond the work they provide. Nor do they know or want to know that their love will not be reciprocated from females with the selfless passion and love with which it was issued. I sense a sadness amongst even the most staunch of junkies, manginas, white knights, or traditionalists embroiled in female servitude. I think on some level they realize something is amiss. They realize that worth is not bestowed upon them simply for existence. They have to labor for others in order to justify the space they take up and the air they breathe, whereas females simply have to be, and they are showered with affection and value. Even as I understand these dynamics, I find anger at nature for these dynamics, because it is the nature of opposites at work here, the nature of opposing sexes which has led to this current state of affairs. It is not specific culture or society or theology, but rather nature that has initiated and maintains the usury and animosity between the sexes. People want to point fingers and lay blame at everything other than the actual problem. Our instincts, our programming. It is male and female nature. Not feminists, not religion, not liberals, not the Jolly Green Giant or Chef Boyardee. It is nature. The instincts and motivations of black widows and praying mantises to devour males. Not some philosophy that turned them bad. They were never benevolent to begin with. Usury for the sake of survival. This is the problem that we don't want to admit. Instead, we like to point the blame on human-invented paradigms or theologies, because everybody knows males and females are meant to exist in perfect union, in harmony and peace, true love, rainbows, and nirvana for all. we excel in cognitive dissonance. Maybe there is no recourse nor resolution to this fiction between opposites. Maybe this is simply a harsh plane of existence which is not meant to be fun and games or romance. Maybe we are here to learn hard lessons, and maybe we are simply accidental pockets of life which sprang from statistical probability, and our continued existence of genetic code is maintained through hostility and usury. So maybe there is no romantic happy ending between males and females, nor was there ever meant to be. This doesn't mean bleak prospects of open barbarism, because no cohesion or affection could exist between sexes or peoples. We can still exist in compassion and peace as a species. We will simply be taking responsibility for reality. We will be evolving to the next stage of human consciousness and ridding ourselves of the fairy tale of love, romance, and equity between the sexes, much as a child sheds Easter Bunny explanations when they get to a certain level of understanding. So too humanity must rid itself of all the fairy tales of true love and romance and blissful cohabitation and interactions between males and females. My solution is simple. Rid ourselves of these handicapping fairy tales. Take the red pill and see reality, then decide where to go from there. Yeah, I know, I'm such a downer because I suggest giving up the security blanket. Yet this is happening independent of me. Other males are at the same place I am, and this awakening is spreading. This unprecedented revolution of male liberation is beginning to stir, and it may not reap fruit in this generation, but eventually this awakening will reach critical mass, spurred on by misandry and male devaluation, and revolution will be at hand. MGTOW is evidence of this. I am proud to be part of this liberation of males from devaluation and disposability. I see things clearly now. I do not seek to change females. They are who they are, and they are motivated as they always have been. I seek to empower and liberate males from female usury and servitude. Then females can do whatever the heck they want to each other. Actually, we know what will happen. In the absence of subjugated males, females will begin feeding on their own as black widows. This is clearly demonstrable in many lesbian circles, where one female dons the fragile, submissive role, and one takes on the traditional role of protector-provider. Even in the absence of males, females seek to uphold the dynamic of providers of utility and benefactors of utility. But this model eventually self-destructs because all females on some level expect to be benefactors of utility because of their sex. Look at lesbian versus gay male divorce rates. Thus, when both partners of a relationship are female and both expecting utility because they are female, that is a zero-sum game because there's no providers, only takers. And after enough time alone with their equality, females will eventually try to sweeten and win back male servitude and protection, which we are already seeing with the anti-feminist movement. Females are deciding that it sucks protecting and providing for themselves. And now you're beginning to see a resurgence of fragility-feigning damsels, of chivalry lamentations, and where did all the good guys go? You don't have to take my word for any of this. Observe it for yourself. I don't seek romantic reconciliation between males and females. I'm past these fairy tales. I seek to rescue and empower males. Unfortunately, I have come to realize that males do not want help until they have been sufficiently burned, shaken out of their fictional reverie, long enough to realize that something's not right. I've been lied to about females and romance. Even as I understand this, I am torn between sadness, which is palpable, the sadness of being in the cage, or the sadness of missing the cage once you're exonerated. What is more pitiful, the plight of males' solitary existence, or the yarns we spin to explain our plight of solitary existence? I see that males ultimately rail against solitary existence, which has been thrust upon them by virtue of this physical dimension. We have been set up to be utilities by our increased musculature and bone structure, and our utility has been cemented through defamation that we are aesthetically inferior. Monsters, hairy, ugly creatures with bulbous features, grotesque anatomy, and malicious intent. Such propaganda assures that females will not become enamored of males and forget their imperative to place their survival and that of the species and offspring upon the protection and provision they extract from males. I'm not saying there are no exceptions. You cannot deal in absolutes when referencing the human species. Yes, females can lose track of their imperatives and become enamored with stunningly attractive males, and thus the dynamic of nature reverses, and suddenly females are chasing and pampering super hot males in order to get attention from them. I have seen this a few times, yet it is not so common. Super hot, stunningly beautiful males are far and few between. However, in various instances of this existence I coin life, which has all been cruel and potent tutelage for ultimately becoming a liberation catalyst, I have had the occasion of having not just hot, but very attractive male friends, and I have observed how crazy females can act over visually stunning males, just as males get over hot females. But these exceptions are far and few between. They have to be. Genetic replication depends on it. I have come to realize that for purposes of species continuation, if all males were strikingly gorgeous, then females would pander to males and chase down attention from super duper hot guys, and thus procreation imperatives would fall by the wayside. This also explains a dear friend of mine who is very attractive and has had female attention and female crazies chase him for years. He has also come from a patriarchal country, and so when I talk about male devaluation and disposability, he gives me that worried look, like I have finally gone off the reservation and may need medication. And from his filter of life, where he has ample attention from women, females pandering to him, coupled with his belief that males are and always have been in charge, I can understand why he thinks I use my free time to make tinfoil hats. However, at the risk of sounding conceited, I know I am right. I have taken the red pill. I see the reality of male disposability that these males are oblivious to. Here again, these males who think that they have it made are still merely junkies who depend upon females in some shape or fashion for their very identities. I see reality so differently. It's like I have been given the knock list, and now their covers are blown, and I see manginas and white knights everywhere. I want to help them, but I realize they will refuse, and indeed even attack and shame me until they have been sufficiently burned to the point where they will seek help. I see pandering males surrounding me who will deny that they placate females at all. Really? Oh, okay, well, if females were suddenly removed from the earth, then who would all those muscles be for? Who would all those accomplishments impress? Who would all the showboating and chest thumping be for? When you take the red pill, you see clearly the ego-invested achievements and hoops that males jump through as being all for female approval. I see tough guys, bikers and thugs, who would sooner swallow a bullet than live without the incentive of female affection. I see males who would kill themselves in a heartbeat if there were no chance for female interaction ever again. I see males whose entire day or week or year is made if a female smiles flirtingly at them, acknowledging their very existence. Or the same day or week or year can be broken by the rejection of a female as well. These males with such greatness and promise inside them, who could do or create such wonders, yet curse their very existence if slighted by a female. You want to return to the good old days of yore, where you get males infantilizing females, and thus pledging themselves and their sex to protection of these fragile flower petals. Really? Then you naturally get feminism arising from the restrictions of infantilization. So females have successfully procured chivalry and equality all from traditionalism. So what we see today, females shamelessly using males for their health, their money, their utility, their servitude. This has all risen from traditionalism, from so-called patriarchy. And you guys want to return to this and try it all over again? Really? Are you freaking kidding me? Here's a word, regression. Look it up. I often wonder how many Newtons, Einsteins, and Teslas have gone undiscovered because their genius was never explored, since they were too busy making ends meet, living out a soul-crushing existence, supporting a family. Think of where we could be if males were freed to use their energies to explore, invent, and create, rather than carry the entitled half of the human population. Heck, I could already be traveling the stars. Instead of looking up at them from my porch and wishing I could be out there, in it, instead of satisfying my interstellar wanderlust with sci-fi movies. Humanity could be so far advanced from our current state if males weren't fed lies about love and romance, if males did not willingly place themselves in servitude simply for a little sexual affection, a few seconds of female-assisted ejaculation. Anyhow, I hope I haven't bored you to tears with all my esoteric moral of the story chatter. I just wanted to muse on some of the clarity I have experienced, and some of the lucidity you will experience upon full red pill awakening. This all may seem foreboding, as the dawn must appear as it rises on the day of battle, but it is not, so I will end with positivity. Great things await both sexes if we can rid ourselves of usury and manipulation and morally evolve as a species. Treat others as you would like to be treated. Man, how much wisdom and peace and healing does that simple little statement contain? Not treat females as greater than males, not treat males as less than females, not expect benevolence from those you treat with malevolence. Be good to all. I will not deny my humanity. I care about females, as I do about any living creature. Each is unique. Each is valuable beyond monetary expression. However, female welfare does not eclipse male welfare. This default argument which spawns male disposability never was valid, and I reject it, as do males around the world in increasingly greater numbers. Something righteous stirs against an ancient prejudice. Something is in the air, and I can sense it. Males matter. They have infinite value. I am not disposable, and neither are you. Now, my friends, please help me loosen the shackles from those still downtrodden. Stand with me. Live free.